You seem like a nice guy. You do. But you never really know. So I'm gonna have to ask you a question. Are you a serial killer? I'm gonna need you to look me in the eyes and give me a serious answer.
You're listening to Scotty and Andrew, and this is Fun with Horror.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew.
And I am still Scotty.
And welcome to episode 141 of Fun with Horror, the most wholesome horror movie podcast in the world. We are the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by giving each other horror movies to watch, and then we discuss it for this lovely podcast.
That's right. And last episode, I got to choose our next movie, and I chose Strange Darling, which we're going to discuss soon. But stay tuned to the end of this episode to find out what Andrew is going to pick for our next movie, because he is next in line to choose our movie.
Ooh.
But until then, hi, buddy. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I know, it's been a while.
Behind the scenes, we recorded our World War Z episode like early,
Yeah.
2 weeks before it aired. And then we had our Thanksgiving week busy schedule. So now it's a week after that. So it's been like, what? Like 1, 2, 3, like 4 weeks since we've talked. 3 or 4 weeks. It's crazy.
It's crazy. You know, I don't even recognize you.
I don't even know who you are.
I would say you're Steven?
No, there's that Steven again.
There it is.
You know who I do know?
Who?
Our new patron. We have a new patron with horror.
Yay!
Janelle, thank you so much for becoming a patron with horror. We are so appreciative of you. And we would just like to say that, Janelle, we love you.
Janelle, thank you. And we do love you.
That's right. Janelle signed up for our Patreon when I released my monthly What the Hell Did Scotty Just Watch episode, which I do at the beginning of every month.
I love it. And why wouldn't she join at that time? Because she gets to hear your sultry voice. Who doesn't want to hear that?
I can't help but feel, though, that maybe 2 people might have joined if both of us were there. Because I think people love you and miss you sometimes.
Aw, shucks. Well, I love the people and I miss the people sometimes.
Of course, if you would like to become a patron with horror, just join our Patreon. Just go to that website or whatever you do. And do it on the computer, from what I've heard, because if you do it on the app, Patreon takes extra money or something like that. So go on the old computer, the old PC or Mac, go to patreon.com, look for Fun with Horror podcast, and become a patron.
Yeah.
How much is it, buddy?
I would say $5. That's it.
$5 a month. We got one tier. One tier. And if you're feeling so inclined, also go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review or a rating.
Please, I need a good ego boost. So if anyone is willing to jump on there and do that.
Yeah, I don't.
It.
I don't because I'm perfect.
You are perfect, but I was an actor, so we need attention.
I was an actor too. What are we talking about?
Oh yeah, dang it. Sorry.
I mean, I wasn't in the world-acclaimed film Knife Point, which is still available on Prime Video, everybody.
Oh, hooray.
I was just talking about my old acting days with somebody. Oh, a very, very old dear friend from my high school days, Lisa. she randomly sent me a message on, I think, Facebook Messenger. And she was like, look what I found. And it was so cool, dude. She found 2 newspaper clippings of me. One was when I was in, I believe, Broadway Bound.
Nice, yeah.
I was doing local theater, and I played Eugene in both Brighton Beach Memoirs and Broadway Bound.
Cool.
And that was a role that Matthew Broderick played in the movies and on Broadway, which is amazing because he was.
That's awesome.
He's a great actor, and he was such a hero to me back then.
Nice. That's so cool.
And then the other one was very cool. It was a news, like, I guess the Pensacola News Journal did like a little article, like a little like column, quick column. They would spotlight people.
Nice.
And they spotlighted me because I had been in California. I've been working on movies. I even mentioned in this article, I mentioned how the first movie I ever worked on in Hollywood was Arachnophobia.
Yeah, dude.
I even mentioned how I think Emilio Estevez had walked in to the facility while I was there, and I was so excited about it.
That's so cool, man. That's such a fun blast from the past. That's so cool. I love that.
You know what's even cooler is saying Emilio out loud. Emilio.
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 Oh, wow. That was really nice.
I just love it.
I hope people had their bass turned up, and like if they're listening in their car, that'd be perfect right there.
Emilio.
Wow. That's nice.
You do it.
That's nice. Emilio.
I like the way you do it.
I like the way you do it.
Emilio. Oh, this is going to be fun.
With horror. Yes.
It's been a long time since I touched that stuff.
Me too. But it's my birthday. And a friend got it for me as, like a special occasion sort of thing.
Strange Darling was written and directed by J.T. Mollner. It stars Willa Fitzgerald as the lady, Kyle Gallner as the demon, Ed Begley Jr. as Frederick or Papa, and Barbara Hershey as Genevieve or Mama. But before we get into spoiler territory, Andrew,
Yes.
let's talk about how we saw this movie, what our thoughts are on this movie, and I'm going to let you go first because we all know that I've seen it and I liked it. And
True.
I'll talk more about that in a second. But without spoilers, Andrew, this was your first time seeing Strange Darling.
This was. And what was nice is, I like with most of our movies, I didn't know really anything going into it, which is always fun. I love going into a movie blind. It was sort of a date night movie, I guess, which is funny. But yeah, I watched it with my wife at night and got through the whole thing in one sitting. Hooray. And I think part of it was because it was just so darn good.
So you liked it?
I did. I really liked this movie. Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about you? Tell me everything you...
Well, buddy, full disclosure,
Mm-hmm.
I worked on this movie.
What?
Did you see my name in the credits?
I did. I knew you worked
Yes.
on it, buddy. Yeah.
Yes. But, when I work on some of these movies, I don't listen to the sound, and I see whatever they shot each day. So back when I was working on this one, that was how it was. So, it was really amazing when I actually got to see this movie in a theater.
Nice.
And I was lucky enough to I guess, win or just be selected to go to a Collider early screening of the movie.
That's so cool.
It was really good. I got to see the movie.
Nice.
And when I saw the movie, I was kind of blown away by how good it ended up. Like, it was, I knew it was a good movie, but it was really good.
Yeah. Nice.
Then after the screening, there was a Q&A. Steven from Collider, really cool guy. He did a Q&A with J.T. Mollner, the director, Giovanni Ribisi as, or the DP, not as, but Giovanni Ribisi was the director of photography.
Awesome.
Willa Fitzgerald was there.
Nice.
And also Z Berg, who she didn't compose the score, she did all of the songs. So
oh, okay.
all the songs you hear throughout the movie are a musician named Z Berg.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome.
And then watching it again for this episode, I loved it even more.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite thrillers / horror movies of the year.
Nice. Yeah, dude.
And I can't wait to talk about it.
I know. I'm like I said, I have some notes. I'm very excited to chat about this movie. But, of course, before we do that, oh boy, it's time for our 3-minute recap where we are going to talk about this movie. So, we're going to spoil this movie from this point on, especially during this 3-minute recap. If you have not seen this movie and you don't want it spoiled, pause this, go watch the movie and come back. And if you're okay with spoilers, stay here. We want you here. We love you. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, so now we are going to roll the magic virtual 20-sided die to find out who's going to do the 3-minute recap. I'm really curious about this 3-minute recap because I have a feeling you and I could both do it in different ways.
True. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, you just warned people of the spoilers, but big warning for this movie. This movie is it can be unpredictable.
Yes. Yeah.
So please, like normally I don't care if people want to have the movie spoiled for them, go for it. But if you haven't had this movie spoiled for you, I would definitely recommend watching this movie first.
I would agree with you. Absolutely.
So I'm just reinforcing you, like the foundation of a beautiful house.
Wow, look at you.
Made of gingerbread.
Look at this. You should write.
I'd rather speak.
I'd rather listen. Oh, boy. All right.
So here we go. I am rolling this 20-sided die. If it's an odd number, you're going to be doing the 3-minute recap. If it's even, I'll be doing the 3-minute recap.
Oh, boy. All right. Stop.
The number is 16.
It's you. It's you.
It was always you.
Oh, okay, buddy. Well, just a heads up. I was going to say something, but I'm like, I guess we gave everyone the spoiler warning, but no, I'm going to let you give the details of this one. So I'm going to pick something else. You have 3 minutes. I got nothing. I did get a hold of a serial killer and just let them know if you do it over 3 minutes, they are going to kill you. That's all.
Oh, really? Which one?
I was going to use the name of this, but I want to see how you do this. I don't want to
come up with another serial killer. Come on.
The California killer.
California killer is going to kill me.
There you go.
Wow.
God. Hi, welcome to Fun with Horror. All right. Whenever you're ready, buddy.
I just want to say I really love your improv skills.
Dude, I will say this. Before you jump in, I'm so tired today. My stepdaughter had like a friend stay the night, which is great. Cindy doesn't think it was why, but Enzo had a rougher night. And so I think maybe it was because he heard them, but I don't know. But I will say I'm very tired today. So my improv is not up to par, buddy.
Did they watch any horror movies?
I don't know. I need to ask. They've just kind of locked themselves away.
You have no idea what they did? Oh, my God.
I know. No.
They could have been doing witchcraft in your house.
Cool. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I don't even know how I'm going to do this.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Strange Darling is about basically two people. In this movie, they are simply called the lady and the demon. We are told right away that one of them might be a serial killer because the lady says, "Are you a serial killer?" And then we see her running across a field. So, holy crap, there we go. That's how the movie begins. This movie is told out of order. There are 6 chapters to this movie. They are told in different order than just chapters 1, 2, 3. It starts with chapter 3, But I'm going to save that for our regular discussion, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically, what happens in this movie is these two people meet in a bar. They have a conversation in a car before they go into a hotel room, presumably to make some sweet, sweet love all night long. The lady asks the demon if he's a serial killer, and she tells him how hard it is for a girl to just take a guy home and have sweet, sweet love with him. It's a really cool conversation, and we are pretty much led to believe that the demon is this serial killer when we see a shotgun in his car. There are other clues. They end up in the hotel room where he ties her up, and he is having very aggressive sexual things going on. And then we find out that they're role-playing, and that while they were in the car, she wanted him to role-play as somebody basically taking advantage of her in the hotel room. She wanted it rough. And the code word, or the safe word, is Mr. Snuffleupagus. So the safe word is used. She is kind of excited about him, but then she sees something in his face, and something happens, and things change. The next thing you know, she is complimenting him on how handsome he is. She goes to her purse to pull out some nose candy, and we see that she has two little baggies, two separate baggies. And she pours a line of one on her little mirror, and then pours a line of the other on her little mirror, without him being able to see. She gives it to him, and the next thing you know, he is paralyzed, it seems like. But he's not really paralyzed, he's just immobile, because the line that she gave him was ketamine. So now she's got him trapped. She goes into the bathroom, she's going through his wallet, she finds out that he is a cop, basically. And she comes back out, she proceeds to carve something onto his chest, which turns out to be an E and an L, which we later find out stands for Electric Lady. And then she is about to kill him. We find out about this point, but out of order, like I mentioned, that she is the serial killer that this movie is about. As she's about to kill him, he pulls out a gun. He had been kind of playing, what is it? What's the word? Playing dead. Oh my God, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Anyway, he was playing dead, and or paralyzed, and he shoots her ear off, basically. She runs off the balcony. There's a chase ensues, in which she goes into, I think, the lobby of the hotel or motel that they're staying at. She kills a lady, takes the lady's car, and then there's a car chase. A car chase ensues, in which he eventually stops and shoots her car. Her car flips over. She runs into the woods. There's a little stalking action in the woods in which he's chasing her. She ends up at a house that is playing Sasquatch radio stories through these loudspeakers outside. In this house are Fred and Genevieve. They seem like an older couple. They seem very nice. But when she shows up, they are very wary of her. They have bear spray and they will use it. But they see that she's in trouble. They take her into the kitchen where Fred starts to say, I'm going to call the cops because we need to get the police out here to help you. She says, don't do that. Genevieve upstairs hears something. She comes downstairs. Fred has been stabbed. He's on the ground, dead, dying, dead. And then the lady lets Genevieve go. Well, the demon shows up at the house, and now he's stalking her through the house. She hides in a freezer. He can't find her right away. He keeps shooting different places she might be hiding, and he keeps shooting the wrong place. He goes out back through the kitchen, and he sees frozen goods strewn in the yard. So he knows now that she is in the freezer. So he shoots the freezer. I don't think he shoots her right away. He just shoots the freezer and scares her. But then he has a discussion with her, in which after he has handcuffed her to the freezer. Long story short, this discussion ends with her pulling out the bear spray. She gets him to come close to her. I forget. She pulls out the bear spray, shoots him in the eyes. And as he's tussling with her, she reaches up and she bites him in the neck, and she tears out a chunk of his throat. Oh, my God. Meanwhile, he had called a couple of cops saying that he was in trouble there, and so they show up, but she has taken her pants down to make it look like he was attempting to take advantage of her when she killed him. The lady cop is very protective. She wants to save the lady. The male cop is a little bit more cautious. He wants to follow protocol. But then the lady starts playing the female card and saying, so the man is always right. She needs help. We need to help her. Well, this is one case where they should not have helped her. They put her in the car. As they're driving along, they come upon Genevieve wandering the roads. When Genevieve comes up to the window, she's like, you got to help me, blah, blah, blah. And then, bam, she is shot in the forehead by the lady in the back seat. The lady lets the female cop go. And then as she's driving the male cop away, he says, why'd you kill all those people? And she says, I just sometimes, instead of people, I see demons, or I see the devil. And in this instance, she sees the devil when she looks at him, so she kills him. Finally, a Native American lady stops in her truck, picks up the lady, and as the lady's getting into the truck, into the cab of the truck, she looks in the mirror, and she sees the devil looking back at her in her own reflection. She is about to maybe shoot the lady, but then the lady pulls out a gun and shoots her. And at the end of this movie, we have a long sequence with the lady driving the car, or this, not the lady, but the Native American lady driving the car, and Willa Fitzgerald as the lady dying in her seat. And that's the end of the movie.
Man, just under 3 minutes. So close.
Wow.
So I knew you were wrapping up. I texted the California killer, and you should be safe, but just lock your door tonight. Just be cautious.
I think I'm safe.
I think you're safe. Great job.
So that's
though.
the movie, buddy. That's the movie.
That's it. You nailed it, though. I won't lie. I mean, you hit them all the beats, dude.
I decided right as I was starting to do the story in order to tell the story chronologically.
Yeah.
But as you and I both know, one of the brilliant things about this movie is how it unfolds as it tells the chapters out of order.
Yeah.
So I've got questions for you, and I'm going to talk about this movie in order, in the order that the movie plays the chapters. And I just kind of want to talk about each chapter.
Yep. I have them all written down because I knew we were going to do chapter by chapter. So I just want to make sure. There we go. Yep. Cool.
So here's the thing. You're really, really good at figuring out twists.
Yeah.
So tell me when did you figure out that she was the serial killer and not him?
Immediately.
Oh, you're a son of a...
I know. I'm sorry. So here.
You were the worst.
I know. I mean, it was like pretty much right when it said chapter 3, because here's the thing. Years ago, I had what I thought was an original idea where I was like, man, what if we watched a movie or we're watching like a horror movie where a serial killer's after, our quote unquote final girl. But the twist is that she's the bad guy and he's the one after, trying to get revenge. I had this thought years ago, but I remember thinking, I don't know how I could make it work. Like, I don't know how that twist could work. And for whatever reason, when they start with chapter 3, I was like, why would they do it in this order? And then it just hit. I was like, oh, because we're not meant to know that she's the killer. That's going to be the twist. And I hate that I knew it because I need to be better about this because I do ruin it for Cindy because I was like, oh, I think she's the killer.
Oh, that's the worst.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
I was on board with you right now.
I know.
But the fact that you told Sydney. Hi, hello,
Prescott.
Sydney. The fact that you told Cindy.
I know.
Oh,
and
man.
I do try and be good about that or better about that. And she's pretty good about it too, to be honest. She can usually pick up the twists, but and it came out, I was like, oh, I bet she's the bad, the villain. And I was like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have said that. So,
okay, so here's what you do.
Yeah. Keep my mouth shut.
Well, yeah, but the next time you watch a movie with a twist like this, when you're about to say to Cindy, oh my God, I know what the twist is, and here's what it is, and you spoil the whole movie for her, or possibly, because, I mean, you know, it may not actually be the twist.
Right, true.
You take out your phone, and you write down a note.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
And then after the twist is revealed, then you show it to Cindy. That way you can be like, I am the best movie watcher ever, and I was correct.
That's true. I think my sister does that because she's really good at figuring out movies too, and I think her husband made her do something similar to that as well, because she would do what I do and be like, "Oh, it's this." And
so, did you ruin it for Cindy?
Yes and no. I mean, I did. I mean, I was right, but she still had a good time with it, and we both did. I mean, it's a good movie either way. Like, it is a good movie. So
good.
Yeah, I know. How about you? Did you know?
Well, so the question. Well, yeah, I know. I worked on it.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess that's true.
But here's the thing. So I like to find out, like, I don't judge people for whether they knew the twist or not going into this movie. But here's my problem with this movie and how it was marketed. But granted, this is a hard movie to market.
Right.
When this movie came out, everybody was saying, go into this movie completely blind. Don't watch anything. Go in not knowing anything. And immediately, I'm sitting there thinking, so people are going to go into this movie thinking that there's some kind of a twist, that there's something that they're not supposed to know. And immediately, the first thing that's going to enter people's minds is, oh, he's not the killer.
Right. Yep.
So I was worried about that. Did you hear any of that when this movie came out? Did you hear anybody say don't go into this movie, or not don't go into this movie, but don't go in? I can't even talk right now.
It's okay.
Flibber to gibbet.
That's right.
Flibber to gibbet.
Flibber to gibbet.
As I was saying, did you hear from anybody that said go into this movie blind?
I don't remember. I can't remember if we had. I don't think we did. But I don't know, because I think I just went in blind, like I try to do with our movies. So I don't remember I don't think anyone did.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I tried not to tell people that, but you also want to tell people that because you want people to go in blind. But I feel like when you tell somebody to go in blind, that's a spoiler in itself. You know,
that's true. That's a really good point.
So we begin with chapter 3.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what we begin with is the movie telling us that it was filmed on film.
Right.
On 35 millimeter film, which was awesome. I love that the movie pointed that out.
Me too. I know. I did too.
It also begins with an opening narrator. Now, did this narrator, along with the color of the text on the screen, remind you of Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That's exactly right. Yep.
I can't remember if they mentioned that in the Q&A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it had to have been intentional.
I thought so. I thought it was an homage of, at least that's what I kind of got from it. But yeah, absolutely, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So chapter 3, the first chapter, is called Can You Help Me Please? And so this is him chasing her. It begins with him chasing her in his truck. Right. She's in her car. So first of all, let's talk about Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. What did you think of both of them?
Phenomenal. Both of them. I don't know her work as well, but watching her, it was definitely one where I was like, awesome. I cannot wait to watch other things she's done, and I can't wait to see what else she does for the future, because she's fantastic in this. Kyle, I know from many things. In fact, this is our third movie that we've done with Kyle in it. So,
what are the other two?
Smile and Scream, the newest of the reboots or whatever.
Scream, what, 5? Yeah, Scream 5.
Yeah, Scream basically. 5. Yeah, yep. And now this. So, yeah. But I mean, yeah, both phenomenal. What about you?
I think this is Kyle's best movie to date. So, yeah, obviously, I thought he was fantastic in this. And when you hear him in an interview, especially, it points out how good his performance in this movie was, because he's just slightly different in an interview. He's more nice. He's friendly. And in this, he was like, like tough, and he was a nice guy. Like,
I know.
It turns out he was a nice guy,
Right.
but he was also just kind of gruff and like, yeah, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he played the part perfectly.
Yeah.
I know he's always, or not always, but he's definitely advocated for himself to play the Green Arrow in the DC universe, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I would love it. He'd be perfect.
That would be perfect. Oh my God.
He's mentioned it in a few different interviews, and I'm like, James Gunn, take a look.
Yeah. Of course, we know that James Gunn has his own vision. So
Yeah, this is true.
it does no good to tell him who will be good in something. This is what I've learned from watching his social medias.
Yeah.
So her car wrecks, and she does the smart thing of running as if she's going into one side of the woods, but then she goes into the other side, so he doesn't see her right away.
Right.
Now, here's the interesting thing. She comes upon what looks like somebody had camped at a site,
Yep.
and we never find out who that person might have been. It was just something like maybe a homeless person living in the woods or something.
That was my thought, just kind of looking at it, yeah.
But here's the thing. This is one of my only little quibbles with this movie, is that she's running from this guy.
Yep.
You know, she pulls out this bottle of whatever alcohol, this is all good, right?
Right.
She's pulling out the alcohol to pour on her ear.
Right.
Or her missing ear. And obviously that's going to hurt like hell. And she does a good job of not making any noise.
Right.
But then she starts smoking.
I have the same note, buddy.
Wouldn't that just be a beacon? Okay, this isn't a beacon. He doesn't get there soon enough to notice the cigarette smoke.
Right.
But man, somebody chasing you through the woods would see cigarette smoke.
For sure. Yeah. And smell it. I mean, in all honesty, if you're even relatively close, you're smelling that.
Absolutely.
So I had that same thought. I was like, what are you doing? Like, that's the dumbest thing you could do right now.
Right?
Yep.
But then she ends up at this house. Now, this was interesting because if you look at the credits, obviously, and we're going to talk about it, Giovanni Ribisi was the director of photography for this movie. But he was also credited as somebody in the movie.
Yep.
Did you recognize his voice right away?
Not at all. In fact, I'm going to kind of jump ahead. We'll talk more about it. But when he calls the police officers to come and help him, I thought he was, because I knew that he was in it, or I thought he was going to be in it. I knew he was the DP, but for whatever reason, I thought he was going to be in it too, or and I don't know why.
I think it might be in the opening credits, but I'm not sure.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay, I just had whatever it was though. I was like, I bet he's because he hadn't shown up for like the whole movie, and I'm like, I bet he's the police officer that shows up. And then when the movie ends, I was like, who? He was not in this movie. Giovanni was not in this movie. And so then I did search it and went, oh, he was the voice.
Well, evidently somebody didn't watch all the way to the end of the credits, Andrew.
Did I not?
Did you not?
I thought I did.
At the very end of the credits, after the song ends, and as the credits are coming to an end, you hear Giovanni Ribisi as Art Pallone, and he's talking, saying, "This has been Art Pallone, signing out."
Oh my gosh, I did miss that. I usually just zoom through to see if there's any like scene, but I didn't even think. Oh my gosh, I will listen to that because that's awesome.
Well, just listen to this episode because I'm going to use it as a soundbite.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But this is I am now telling you, buddy, a lot of the movies that we do, I've noticed there may not be an extra scene at the end of the credits, but a lot of them have a little audio something or other at the end. Something that has to do with what we saw in the movie.
Okay.
I am imploring you to go to the end of these movies' credits and not just watch, but listen at the very end and see if you hear anything.
Okay.
So then we jump from chapter 3 to chapter... I'm sorry. She had knocked on the door and Fred and Genevieve opened the door. And that's the end of chapter 3.
Yep.
Chapter 5 is called Here, Kitty, Kitty.
Perfect.
Now, in this chapter, he is in the house.
Right.
and he is stalking her through the house.
Mm-hmm.
We see that she is hiding in the freezer.
Right.
We don't know what has happened between her getting to the house and this point.
Right.
But we do pretty quickly see that Fred is dead on the kitchen floor in a puddle of blood.
Right.
This is actually a short chapter, right?
It's very short.
He goes outside, he sees the frozen goods in the yard, and then he comes back inside and he shoots the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Then we jump to the beginning of the movie, chapter 1, which is called Mr. Snuffle. So this is one of the longer chapters of the movie, but it's so good, man.
It is. It's, again, just praising the two of them, because it really is like this back and forth. That's the whole, I mean, really, the most of that scene is just this back and forth between these two characters, and they just do such a great job. And it was, even though it's one of the longer sections, you don't, at least for me, I didn't feel it was long. I was like, oh, I could do another hour of these two talking. I mean, they were great. So it's a really, really good scene and just kind of a masterclass for actors.
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie is 1 hour and 43 minutes.
Right.
I believe that's the length, but it's really well paced, this movie. But yeah, so most of the scene is them in the cab of his truck talking to each other. Now, here's my question. So I know you say you figured out the twist. You said to yourself, oh, I bet she's the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Serial killer.
Yes.
Wow, that was a tongue twister for a second, wasn't it there, buddy? Yeah. So here's my next question.
Okay.
Did the movie have you doubt that at all and think to yourself, maybe he is?
No. I mean, it probably should have, but I think I was pretty, stuck in my ways, you know? Yeah, it just didn't for me. Once I had thought that, I was sticking with it. I wish it had, but just my mind worked against me, I guess.
Now I want to ask you, buddy, this is a really cool thing. The cinematography.
Yeah.
Did you realize, you knew that Giovanni was the cinematographer, right?
I did, yeah, which I was really curious to see because, I mean, obviously I know him as an actor, and I think he's a phenomenal actor. So I was very curious to see kind of what he was going to bring to this movie.
And did you notice the cinematography in this movie at all?
I did. I definitely did. I thought it was excellent. And I even afterward, I was like, what? Is there anything like Giovanni Ribisi can't do? I was like, I kind of now want to see if him be a composer or sing or do some other stuff, because I'm like, he's so good. He's a great actor and he's a great cinematographer. So I did notice. I thought some of these shots were so perfect.
I agree. I completely agree. And I also liked the direction they went with the color. They made the colors in this movie pop.
Agreed.
And that was a conscious decision. I know from the Q&A that I saw, and plus the bonus features that come with this movie, I know that Giovanni and JT Mollner, they specifically wanted to do unconventional things.
Okay.
They didn't want to follow tropes, and I can't remember which one said this, but in the bonus features of the movie, one of them definitely says that if people are telling you or are worried about how you're making the movie and that you may be doing it wrong, you're on the right path.
Nice. I love that. That's awesome.
And one thing JT Mollner definitely wanted to avoid was thriller movie tropes. And namely, the trope of the color of the movie and the scenery just being like dark and bland and like kind of dreary.
Right.
A good word, you know?
Kind of that blue shade almost, like
blue or brown or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
One phrase he used that I really liked was they wanted it to be blood on a flower bed.
Okay. That's cool.
He wanted the colors. He wanted it to be a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
You know, you see that right away during the car chase, but then definitely in the cab of this truck, they're sitting in front of this sign for the Blue Angel Motel, and they are just bathed in blue light for this entire scene. There's no other color in the scene, just blue and black. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, that, and it almost set it up as like, even with their dialogue, just things, it just reminded me of like noir. You know what I mean? Like film noir a little bit. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, I love that whole, everything about that scene is fantastic. To the color, to the acting, to the writing. I mean, it really is. It's one I would recommend to people. Just if you want to see a great scene for all that it is, watch this. You know?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I love the dialogue in this scene. Like, it's so good. I love the fact that she's talking about how more women would want to do one-night stands and have casual sex with guys if they weren't so worried that the guy would turn out to be a serial killer.
Right. Yeah.
And want to kill them. All that dialogue was great, especially if you know that she's the serial killer.
Right.
And how she's like putting him on the defensive right away.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then they end up in the room and they're doing role play, which right away, we're not sure if it's role play really. We know that they're just having aggressive sex, you know, or about to.
Right.
But if you're still in the mindset that he might be the serial killer, you suddenly see him handcuffing her to the bed.
Right.
And then it's revealed pretty quickly that they are role playing.
Yep.
But then I love the idea that even that role play is within a role play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yep. The layers.
Very much so.
Yeah. And actually one point, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but once we find out more about the role play, my wife Cindy was like, kind of as we see some, or as we've already seen, I guess, some of the scenes, she's like, are they in this together? You know, at this point, we're not sure kind of everything. She's like, are they in this together? And this is all just role play. And this is what they do is like hurt each other and kill people. And I was like, oh, that'd be interesting too, to have them both be like these psychos. But yeah, just something I was like, that's good.
You do kind of get the idea that he's not particularly sane.
Right. That's true. Yes.
I feel like when she pulls out the cocaine that he has had a drug problem in the past.
For sure. Yeah.
And especially when he talks to the other cop later, you get that feeling kind of reinforced.
Exactly. Yeah. He's definitely done some stuff that he probably should not have done.
But the part where he gets really, really aggressive with her.
Yeah.
When he handcuffs her and then she says, Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Right.
It flashes back to the car and we find out that she's telling him that, hey, if I say no, it does not mean no.
Right.
I want to believe that you're going to hurt me.
Right.
And there's only one word that's a safe word, and that's Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like how he played it, and thinking how I would play that scenario. Like, honestly, I've been in that scenario when I was much younger, where a girl wanted to play rough, and I couldn't do it. It was honestly, I'm not trying to be like a white knight right now or like the shining beacon to men everywhere, but it was honestly difficult for me to play that role in a role play situation. Even though it's fake, even though it's not real, it was hard. I couldn't put myself in that character, you know?
I get that. No, I get that.
So it was really uncomfortable for me watching him not want to do it.
Right.
Like saying, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she manipulates him further.
Yes.
She calls him the P word.
Oh, she does? That's right.
Which we don't say here on Fun with Horror because we are a wholesome podcast.
That's true. That's true.
And to all the 6-year-olds listening, we don't want them saying that word out loud.
I will say, too, though, one of the kind of brilliant things about Kyle's acting during that scene is when she does use the safe word, he immediately, I mean, when he does switch back to like, I'm so sorry, I'm so, you know, I believed him. I was like, oh, wow. He's like, I mean, he's just such a good actor that I was like, oh, he feels bad. He really is like, did not mean to, you know, I just thought he was really good in that moment. You know, I believed him.
Yeah,
but again,
for sure.
The brilliance of his acting, so.
He was realistic in every situation in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Kyle Gallner.
Me too.
He's fantastic. But then after they do the safe word, they kiss in the hotel room, but she sees something. And this is the first sign that we get that she sees something when she looks at him. And if you notice, there was like a 1-frame flash of a devil.
Yep.
But then we jump back ahead to chapter 4, the mountain people. And this was so funny.
This was a great scene. Or chapter, I should say.
Yeah, chapter, scene, everything. We learn about Fred and Genevieve.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to call her Lorraine for some reason, but Fred and Genevieve. So they're sitting at their kitchen table, and they're eating a crazy-ass breakfast, first of all.
My first thought when I saw how much frickin' butter that they were using and everything, I was like, I thought maybe they were part of like a cult where they're gonna like take their own lives as like their last meal, was kind of my initial thought, because I'm like, that is the most unhealthy thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, that is so bad. So I really thought that they were gonna do something to, like, God forbid, but take their own life or something for like a cult reason. I don't know.
Well, it's not expressly said anywhere in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I do get the very strong feeling that tea that they were drinking, or whatever they were drinking at the table, had shrooms in it.
Yes, I would agree. And they call themselves something like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like,
Well, I think they just call themselves hippies.
did they say hippies? Okay, I couldn't remember. They said something, and I was like, oh, they're cool. Like, they just are, whatever, man.
I mean, this is what we find out about them. We find out that they're hippies.
Uh-huh.
We find out that he refers to himself as a biker instead of a
Yes,
hippie.
that's right.
They are Sasquatch truthers.
Yes.
They believe in Sasquatch.
Mm.
They believe Sasquatch is out there, and they listen to conspiracy radio shows about Sasquatch.
Yep.
And then we also kind of find out that they're doomsday preppers.
Right. Yes.
My favorite thing about this scene, though, is that, I love to do jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah, dude.
I want to know their rules for doing competitive jigsaw puzzling. Because they're doing the Scott Baio jigsaw puzzle.
That's right.
But it's competitive. They're scoring each other. And I'm like, what are the rules? I love this. I want to do this.
It's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So, yeah. And so she shows up. And here's the thing. Like, I hate this so much because he's about to call the cops after they get her inside, and she stabs him and beats him with the phone.
Yeah.
And the thing I hate about this is that if he is on shrooms, man, that sucks. That's a bad trip.
Everything's amplified.
I know, man.
Oh, no.
There's certain things you don't want happening when you're on shrooms or acid, and getting beaten with a phone and stabbed is definitely one of those that you
That
don't
would
want
make
happening.
sense. Yeah.
But then she lets Genevieve go.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which is, sad for Genevieve. Now Genevieve's out there shrooming in the world.
Yeah.
And knowing that her husband is dead. So
yeah.
That was sad. And then she hides in the freezer
Mm-hmm.
because she sees the demon coming, or Kyle Gallner. Now we jump back to chapter 2. Now, chapter 2,
yes.
well, I think, I don't know. This was another, it felt longer than it was this time, but I enjoyed it, not in a bad way.
Right. Okay.
Just a lot of stuff happens,
And this is called The Electric Lady.
No, this is called Do You Like to Party?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, chapter 2 is called Do You Like to Party?
I put that wrong then. My bad.
Yep, because this is where she
Right.
busts out the cocaine and gives him the ketamine, cuts EL into his chest,
Right.
finds out he's a cop. And I do like that when he is immobilized from the ketamine, she goes into the bathroom. When she comes out, he's just like crawling down the outside hallway.
Yes. Oh my god.
And she just pulls him back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, then she's about to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And right as she's about to kill him, he shoots her in the ear. And then she runs and jumps over the railing. But the best thing, you want to talk about him?
The guy that comes out.
Yeah. Do you remember what he says, though?
He's like, what's going on? She's like, he has a gun. He's like, well, so do I.
I know, but then we never see anything of that gun. It's just like a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes to the hotel lobby and she kills the lady pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But she doesn't kill Tanya, the younger girl, which is nice.
Yeah.
At least that we know of. I don't think she kills her.
I mean, she takes her clothes.
Yeah, she takes her clothes and takes her car. I guess we don't know if she killed Tanya.
It's a mystery for the sequel.
Maybe she did. But I think for me, one of my favorite things about this section is just the idea that to combat the effects of the ketamine, he grabs her big bag of cocaine and just starts just snorting up as much cocaine as he can.
Yeah, it was like Scarface level. I was like, geez, dude, like that's a lot. That's a lot. I've never done cocaine, but I mean, from what I've seen in movies, he like does way more than most people in movies.
Well, it also takes us back to the beginning of the movie when he's chasing her in the truck.
Right.
He's got the bag and he's snorting it out of the bag.
Right.
And now, because back in that moment, if you don't know, if you haven't guessed like the genius you are,
stop,
how this movie's going to end up, we just see this crazy guy, snorting a bag of powder and chasing this girl.
Right. Genius.
But now we know that he was just snorting more because, he was just combating the effects of the cocaine or the ketamine. Sorry.
The adrenaline. He needed it. One thing I do want to bring up, and it's hit or miss in movies, but they do at one point, I want to say it was in chapter, I don't remember, one of the earlier chapters, though, we do see that he has a gun in his ankle. He has like an ankle holster. So it wasn't like, where'd that come from? It was nice to be like, oh, because even when you see him laying there, at least I thought, I was like, he has another gun. Like he's got something that can get him out of this. So I appreciated that it wasn't like a, what? Like it wasn't like a, oh, we needed him to get out. We just have him shoot her. It was, they set it up, which was good.
And it's another brilliant thing that this movie also does. Instead of giving us a scene of exposition, like a guy talking about how he's a cop and where he's been, we just see clues. And the movie kind of leaves it up to us to figure it out.
Right. Agreed. I will say, though, when she does start taking his boot off and his sock, I was like, oh, no. It's like, oh, no.
That's right. And does she only take off one?
Just the one. So, yeah, it was like but I was like, oh, she's going to find it.
I think both times I've watched this movie, I totally forgot about the gun in his anklet.
Nice,
or whatever, his ankle holster.
Yeah.
I think I totally just forgot when she's taking his boot off.
Nice. I was so anxious right there. I was like, don't take that other boot.
Then we come to the final chapter, chapter 6, which is called Who is Gary Gilmore? I love this because even though I forget every time I watch this movie about this, Gary Gilmore is a guy who was a real-life murderer and was executed by firing squad.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and the whole purpose of her bringing Gary Gilmore up is because she has realized that she doesn't want to die.
Right. Yep.
Like she's doing everything she can to stay alive in this instance, in this whatever, all this stuff that's happening.
Right.
This is him, like it starts with her talking to the demon.
Right.
And then he handcuffs her to the freezer, so she's not going anywhere. Now, we keep wondering if she was shot. I don't think she was shot at this point.
Yep, he shot her. So when he first shot her through the freezer, he hit her because she screams. It's like the second chapter.
Right, but did she scream because he shot her? Because she was just
she was bleeding
the crap out of her. From where?
Like her side or her chest or something. It was like,
was she?
I thought so.
Guess I'll have to watch this movie a third time, friend. Because I didn't think she got shot. I think it just surprised her and she's screaming because, well, also she's insane. Right.
True. But no, because even I think she's like wounded at the end when the Native American woman picks her up. Doesn't she have like, I mean, obviously she gets shot again, but I thought that she was like,
maybe.
I don't know.
Well, either way.
Right.
He's talking to her and she talks about Gary Gilmore. And then now Gary Gilmore is a real person, by the way. That's a real guy.
Right. Okay.
And then I forget how she does it, but she sprays him with the bear spray. Oh, she just pulls it out. And then
Well, it's in her jacket.
Yeah. But I mean, she sprays him with the bear spray, and he runs at her,
right,
to defend himself, and that's where they tussle, and she tears out a chunk of his neck with her teeth.
Yeah, dude. Ouch.
Which kills him. It kills him.
It does. Yep. Which is understandable. I mean, you take out a chunk of that. I mean, yeah. No, it was a good chunk.
It was a damn good chunk. This whole frustrating moment when the cops show up.
I know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And this was kind of an uncomfortable scene for me because, as I mentioned in the 3-minute recap, she kind of pulls her pants down to make it look like he was attempting to rape her.
Right.
The female cop immediately wants to help her.
Right.
She's like, she's hurt. She needs medical attention.
Right.
The male cop is the one who's like, no, we need to follow protocol. What happened here?
Right.
This is, he immediately feels that something is fishy.
Right.
And here's the thing. I'm not sure I love this scene.
Okay.
Because first of all, it feels like somebody, no offense to JT Mollner,
right,
but the writing in the scene comes across as, Blue Lives Matter kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also that women aren't always correct. It almost comes across as a little bit anti-feminine.
Gotcha.
Because this scene is basically saying that there's a reason that cops handcuff somebody who is mortally wounded.
Right.
We see these videos all the time of somebody who is obviously just, they've been shot, they're mortally wounded, but the cops still handcuff them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's outrage usually in the comments of people that are watching the video, and they're like, why'd you handcuff them? And we hear that this is protocol.
Right.
So part of this scene comes across to me as this is why protocol is done, because you never know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bother me as much as the woman, the female cop, wanting to help the lady, and using femininity, or the what's the word? Using male chauvinism as an excuse to continue doing what she's doing. She says, "Oh, is it? I forget what she says, but she's basically telling the male cop, is it because I'm a woman?
Right.
Basically saying that he doesn't want to listen to her because she's a woman.
Right.
And it comes across almost like women aren't always right, because obviously in this situation, the female cop doing this is the wrong thing to do. Helping the lady is the wrong thing to do.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think that was the intention.
Okay.
That JT Mollner had when he wrote this, but it does come across that way in a little bit to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, that's what happens. Obviously, they handcuff her.
Right.
They put her in the car, and then there's a little bit of a conversation in the car after Genevieve shows up.
Yes.
Which, here's my other issue with the movie.
Okay.
So we, as the audience, it's intended to be a surprise that she is the killer.
Right.
But when I sit and I look at the situation inside the movie, these cops know that there is a serial killer called the Electric Lady.
True. Yes.
Knowing that and seeing all this craziness going down, why wouldn't both of these cops proceed with an abundance of caution around a female in a situation such as we've been seeing?
And in the same area that these killings have been happening, which is somewhere in Oregon. I can't remember where. They say it at the beginning. But yeah, in that vicinity. So that I get that. That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's a very highly populated area.
Right. Not at all.
So I would be even more cautious around any type of female in a situation like that.
Right.
So it just kind of bothers me that they aren't more cautious, both of them,
right,
around this person. Going past what I said about the Blue Lives Matter feel of the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that bothered me a little bit.
Right on. I get that. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I think, don't they even start talking about the electric lady a little bit?
I think they do.
And you're just like, they don't seem like inept cops at all.
Right. True.
So, man, why would you just not be super cautious about this? Knowing that there's a female serial killer out there calling herself the electric lady.
Yep.
I don't know. So
no, I get that.
That's my only main big quibble with this movie.
Yeah, I get that.
But if I ignore that, I do like the scene. I like the surprise of Genevieve showing up. Also, the frustration of Genevieve showing up.
I know.
You're like, oh no.
Right, yeah.
It's not that you don't want the lady to get caught.
Right.
It's that you don't want her to kill these innocent people, these innocent cops, you know?
Right. And Genevieve.
Yeah, you want her to get caught, and Genevieve's going to ruin that.
Yeah, I know. Ugh. And then, I mean, that when she shoots her, it's so abrupt. You're like, no, Genevieve.
Yeah.
No.
And then you realize the cops are pretty much screwed.
Yep. Well, one is.
Well, no, you don't know yet.
Right. You're right.
Yes, you feel like both of them are.
Right.
But she lets the female cop go.
Right.
And then we have an epilogue.
We do have an epilogue.
So they could have ended the movie right there with her in the car with Pete, and the male cop's name is Pete.
Yeah. I the whole time though, I was like, well, I was just thinking, oh, it's Gomez from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So epilogue.
Yes.
She has the conversation with Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does seem like a good guy.
Yep, he does. Such a bummer.
Such a bummer. And it's partly, because it's the actor. The actor's so likable.
Right, yes. It's played by Stephen Michael Casada. Plays the part. Does a great job.
Then we get to the end of the movie here, where after she shoots Pete, she flags down the woman in the truck.
Right.
Acting like a victim.
Mm-hmm.
But she sees the devil in the mirror when she looks at herself.
Right.
So what were you thinking this whole part right here? What were you thinking?
When she sees the devil?
Just this whole scene when the woman picks her up in the truck.
I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of was in it. I did love that when she pulls out the gun, the other lady's already ready. Like, I love that lady was smart and was like, I'm just going to have my gun on you without really showing, that I have my gun on you. And
oh no, she didn't have her gun on her. She just had it in her pocket. And as soon as I think the lady was just a little bit slow because of everything she's been through.
Oh, okay.
And she also didn't expect this woman to have a gun. And the woman just immediately pulls a gun out of her pocket or holster or wherever she has it.
Right.
And then shoots the lady without any pause whatsoever. So
I know, which I love though. I love that moment. I was like, yeah, you got her.
Was there a feeling before this happened that like this kind of sinking feeling like, oh, she's going to get away with everything? And now here comes another lady that she's going to kill.
I don't know. I really didn't have, I honestly don't remember. I think I just was so absorbed in the moment that I wasn't really thinking anything except what's coming next. So I don't know.
What you're saying is this is the one time in the movie where you weren't predicting what was about to happen.
Right.
And ruining it for Cindy next to you.
Exactly. Time out.
So the lady shoots him. Now, here's another little thing, interesting thing, not a quibble or anything, but brilliant acting, again, by Willa Fitzgerald, as the camera just stays on her as she's dying in the cab of this truck.
Yeah. That was great. I mean, honestly, yeah, it looked like she died. Like, she plays it well, though. It's not just so immediate. I mean, it's her life literally leaving her body. She did a great job.
Did you think of Pearl?
Oh, no, but now I do. Yeah. Good point, yeah.
I can't think of the other movie, but I feel like this is one of two movies that has like lingered on one of the main characters of the movie at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, are we all going to do this? Because Pearl did it so successfully and it was so cool. So are we all going to do this?
If it's done well, I'm all for it. I think this one was done well, so
Yeah.
I say yeah.
This
go
one's
for it.
done really well.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think what the other one is. I do feel like there's another one. You're right.
Yeah, and is it maybe even something we talked about? Maybe.
That's what I'm wondering. I gotta think about it.
Was it Long Legs? Or was it... How did Long Legs... No, well, we can't talk about how Long Legs ended.
Well, the very last scene in Long Legs.
For all of you who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's move on.
Yeah.
The music.
Yeah.
We've actually got 2 soundtracks to this movie out there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So first of all, we have the songs by Z Berg.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but she has a really Julie Cruz feel about her. Julie Cruz sang all the songs in Twin Peaks.
I never watched Twin Peaks, buddy.
Oh, wow. So I guess I'm just by myself here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So, Scotty, Julie Cruz from Twin Peaks. Yes, exactly, Scotty. Wow. You hit the nail on the head, Scotty. Thank you, Scotty.
Wait, I'll jump into that. Yes, you're right.
You haven't seen Twin Peaks.
Sorry, I was trying to I wanted to boost you up.
Well, then let's talk about Craig DeLeon then.
Mm-hmm.
Craig DeLeon, who did the score to this movie.
Yeah.
Did you recognize it? Did anything?
I feel like if anything, I kind of had it help the atmosphere, but I don't have too many notes on that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I remember that it made a big difference when I saw this in theaters, and I was disappointed the first weekend after this movie opened that there was only the soundtrack by Z Berg, which is a great soundtrack, okay?
Right on.
Nothing against her, but that they hadn't released the score soundtrack yet.
Right.
They eventually did, right before I picked this movie for the podcast, which was
Nice.
awesome. And I just, it is an atmospheric soundtrack, but
Right.
man, it does this thing throughout the movie where it goes,
That's right.
and I was just like it's so powerful every single time, and it just like adds this discomfort, this anxiety to the movie. I love it.
Nice. That's cool. I like that.
3 questions.
Let's do it.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right, buddy. Question number 1. Interesting. What was the best death/kill in Strange Darling?
I am gonna go with the lady
Mm-hmm.
because I loved how that was one part I did not predict.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Even having worked on it, I didn't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really cool that I thought that this lady was a goner and that's how the movie was going to end, with the lady getting away with this woman.
Nice. Yeah.
But I liked how it was turned around, and then I loved Willa Fitzgerald's acting as she just sat there and stared at the lady dying.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
what about you?
Same. I had, and it was just satisfying. It was really satisfying to see our antagonist not only die, but in kind of an abrupt, with an abrupt shot that just kind of you weren't expecting, which was pretty. I liked.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice, or a good moment, I should say. So, yep, same.
Definitely.
All right, question number 2: was this movie scary?
Well, this movie isn't technically classified as a horror movie. It is mentioned as a horror movie, but people do refer to this, even the director and cast members and producer, they refer to this movie as a thriller.
Right.
So I think it was very suspenseful.
Yep.
But no, I don't think it's scary unless suspense scares you.
Right.
What about you, Andrew?
We're gonna agree on this one too, buddy. Yeah, it's more a thriller to me. So I didn't lose sleep, but I definitely, I was anxious for a few parts for sure.
Yeah. Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
look at us. Question number 3, my friend. Did you have fun with horror?
I had a lot of fun with horror.
Yeah.
How about you?
I did. This was a good one, man. I was happy to watch this.
But let me ask you this. Did it make you feel strange, darling?
Why'd you kill all those folks?
Sometimes I don't see humans. I see devils.
One thing that I did want to bring up that I actually read today, as I was just kind of doing a little research, was J.T. Mollner, the director/writer, is writing the screenplay, or did write the screenplay, I should say, for The Long Walk, Stephen King's book, that will now be a movie, which is arguably my favorite Stephen King book.
You know what? You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you that back when I saw this in the theater, because they mentioned that during the Q&A.
Oh, really?
And it was right after you and I had talked about it on one of our episodes, where you mentioned that you were really looking forward to The Long Walk and you weren't sure if it was still happening.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And then I saw them doing the Q&A, and he talked about how it's moving along, and I wanted to tell you that, hey, it's still happening, buddy.
Yes. Oh, I'm so pumped. I know I saw that today and was like, yes. So I actually need to text my sister after we're done as well and let her know, because she was the one that introduced me to that book and loves that book. So
awesome.
I'm so excited. Yeah. After watching this, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm excited.
Well, now, buddy, we come to the moment of truth and of mystery and suspense in this thriller that we call Fun with Horror.
Nice.
I have no idea what movie you're about to pick, what we're watching next, and our next episode actually falls on Christmas Eve. So the question in my mind and in everybody's mind that's listening right now is, are you going to pick just a horror movie, or are you going to pick a Christmas horror movie? Like, what's going to happen here? I have no idea, and I'm going to leave it to you, buddy.
It's a great question.
What are we watching next?
It did cross my mind to pick a Christmas movie, and I really did think about it, but there's one that I really want to see, and it's not Christmas.
What is it?
And I mean, if we really want, if you look at the movie poster, we can make it Christmas, because here's what I'm going to say. Whenever Santa shows up at the house, you got to be quiet, because we don't want to wake everyone up. So we got to shh. Do you know what poster I'm talking about?
No.
This might be our first remake
Whoa.
of a movie that we've done.
Whoa.
And I'm picking the newest American remake of Speak No Evil.
You're right. I did not guess that you would pick that at all.
Buddy, I have been really looking forward to this movie. I'd been thinking about it. I had a couple options, but I'd really been thinking about this one. And actually, I think it kind of solidified yesterday, or even, I think it was yesterday. It popped up on Facebook, or I don't know, somewhere, that Peacock is now streaming it. And I was like, well, there you go. More people can enjoy this movie too. So I'm picking it, and I'm excited to do one that we've done the original, and now we're doing the remake, man. I'm really excited to do this. So Speak No Evil, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have gone in so many different directions.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
There you go. Our next movie is Speak No Evil, the 2024 remake.
Yes.
I will say that if people want to prepare for this episode, they may want to watch the original as well as the remake, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about the differences between the two.
Very good point.
And of course, we did the original movie a couple of years ago on this very podcast. We talked about the original, and we were both, it affected both of us very strongly.
Yeah, it did. And you know what? I'll even plug. After, if you do watch the original, listen to that episode again. Why not? Our episode. Just to prepare for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly do think that that's one of our better episodes.
I agree. We had a really good conversation with that movie. It was, yeah, I agree. Not to plug, but I mean, it really was a good conversation.
So this next movie is going to be interesting. Also, everybody, just to keep you informed on what's happening with Fun with Horror, this Friday is Friday the 13th, which means we'll be talking about the next Friday the 13th movie in our list, which is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Ooh.
So that's this Friday. In 2 weeks, 2 Tuesdays from the day this episode comes out, we'll be talking about Speak No Evil, the remake, a very good Christmas film to get everybody in the spirit.
Right.
And then shortly after that, we will be doing our annual year in review and resolutions episode like we do every year. We'll talk about the movies we loved that we saw this year, and we'll talk about the movies we're looking forward to watching next year.
That'll be fun. That's always a fun episode.
I know. I love it so much.
I know. It's
So
nice.
great.
And it's nice just to review what we've done. It's just a nice way to cap off the year. I love it.
Yeah. I always look forward to it because
Me
it's
too.
also like, it reminds me of our old conversations,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, because we talk about a specific movie,
Mhm.
you know, and the whole point of you and me doing this podcast was obviously to keep in touch and to have conversations every week or two. And when we used to talk, we used to like talk about lists of movies and stuff like that. And so these episodes kind of make me feel like that. So
Nice.
I think if people want to get the best window into our candid conversations,
Yeah.
an episode like this, like the year in review episode, is one of the best ways.
Agreed. Yeah, I would agree. So listen to it.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I
Wow.
blacked out for a sec. Sorry. What happened?
Well, listen to it, people. But until then, you know what? We love you all.
We do love you all.
Thank you so much for listening to Fun with Horror. Thank you for being listeners. Thank you for being fans. Also, Andrew, we didn't even talk about this, so I might mention it again since nobody listens this far into the episode except for Ari.
Thank you, Ari.
Thank you, Ari. But, you know, we got our Spotify Wrapped for podcasters.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, and 10 people in this world list us as their number one most listened to podcast.
Aw, that's awesome. Wow.
But I have no idea who those 10 people are. So, you know, if you're out there, let us know.
Please. That would be awesome. That would be really cool. Yeah, if someone just popped on there and was like, that was me.
That was me. Here it is. You're number one for me.
Oh,
That's great.
so cool. 10 people? That's so cool, man.
I know. And it's not my mom, for sure.
It's not mine either.
She doesn't. Oh, God.
Sorry, that joke is... It's a pretty dark joke. For those that don't know, my mom has passed.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye. Sorry. It was dark.
From the high desert in the majestic American West, I bid you all good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be across this great land of ours. This is the world-famous Shore to Spooky Shore AM Dark Night in the Desert, and I'm Art Pallone.